I don't know, I'm being a little particular. I have no idea kind of what I'm doing, so the learning curve has been a little bit steep.
It's one of my fears that we get done putting the mortar on and we look back and our wall's like sliding over to the side.
Yeah, we were shooting for 12 foot on the gate, but somehow that shrunk a little bit, and it's at 11.6, so I lost 6 inches there somehow. Don't know how I did. We do plan on karate chopping our block wall quite often, so it definitely needs to stand up to that stress test.
Oh no!
Good news, I was able to procure the block. I did have to do a little bit of running around, but I love driving around beautiful Puerto Rico. It was no big deal. And I got the block coming. The bad part is that they don't bring the forklift on the truck here, so we're gonna have to offload it by hand. It's only about 400 block. They're bringing a couple guys, I'm here, so it should get done pretty quick, but hopefully it works out well and the project's gonna move forward properly.
Welcome back, guys. We have jumped right into this video. We're getting right to work. We got our block delivered now, and there's only one thing to do is get started on that wall. So what do we have to do today? What do you think we can get done?
Well, today I think we need to do the layout process. We did measure our footer and did the best we could on all that sort of stuff. Kind of not guessing, but trying to figure out exactly where everything was supposed to go and what the measurements were going to be for the block, where the door and the gate were going to end up. So what I think we should do now, even though it's a little bit laborsome because we are learning, we should take this time to learn a lesson, and we should lay out the first whole layer, a block all the way down, to kind of gauge where everything's going to go, and then we can make small adjustments from there.
Before we put
anything solid in,
Oh, okay.
before we put anything permanent, this way if we have to make any small adjustments, we can do it there from the middle and go out, instead of starting on one end or starting in the middle and starting to concrete things, and now we realize we get 20 feet away and something's not right, we won't be able to move it. So I think first things first, we should lay it all down there. It'll be a great workout for me in the morning. It'll be a good learning tool. You can motivate me and guide me in the right direction and be a good foreman. So I think it's gonna, it's gonna get the juices flowing. All right, so as you guys can see, I have my block laid out there, and there is no block there, but there are 2 pieces of steel coming up out of the footer. In my haste, I just measured everything on 4 feet with the steel coming up, and then I had forgotten, it had slipped my mind that Kristen wanted a 4-foot door in here to be very ornate, very much of a statement piece, and I had done the steel for a 3-foot door. So had I been putting a 3-foot door in here, it would have been right, but with the 4-foot, it's not going to fall, so I have to cut these 2 pieces out and down, which that's not that big of a deal, but because I will be hanging a heavy door, I'm going to want some steel in the columns here on the end, since we're going to be hanging hardware and using the door and swinging. I want that to not be a weak spot, so I'm going to have to get a drill bit, drill down in there, but that's going to happen later. I could probably even do that with the first 2 layers on if I had to get buck wild. So for now, we're just going to keep laying out our block because we're seeing exactly where everything can go. It's a custom wall. It doesn't have to fit in between anything. It just has to be on the footer. So we have a little bit of wiggle room. Not ideal, not perfect, but whatever is.
So we got our blocks pretty much in, figured out how we're gonna put them. It looks like it's gonna work out. We got our 4-foot door. We think we're gonna have about 11-foot gate.
Yeah, we were shooting for 12 foot on the gate, but somehow that shrunk a little bit, and it's at 11.6. So I lost 6 inches there somehow. Don't know how I did. I think it had to do with the fact that we have like a very ornate overhang, overlapping walls, and they're 8 inches wide, which 8 is a percentage of a foot. That's not great. It's 2 inches over half. So I that's the problem. That's kind of what threw me off there, was the wing walls, where I had a middle, more than a half block, but less than a full block. It was kind of a bummer there, but I'll figure that out. I'll get that sorted. But anyway, we're close, and now the next problem is I have to learn how to mix my mud. I've never done mortar for a block wall before, obviously, and normally if you go to Home Depot, if you live somewhere different, you just go and the formula is right there on the bag. You buy this bag of stuff, you put this much water, this much sand, this much cement, and then you know you're gonna have your mortar. But this is a little bit of a different thing. There's just piles of materials outside, so I'm not exactly sure how stiff my sand is or which sand is gonna work better. So what I'm going to do is sift the sand that I got, mix it, do a 3-to-1 mix, because that's roughly where we're going there, and then I have 3 blocks that I can sacrifice. So what I'm gonna do is just make the joints under there, stack those 3 blocks. It's gonna be about 80 pounds of weight on that bottom joint, and then we're gonna see how much it smushes out, if it's stiff enough, and then I can adjust the mix from there, instead of trying to go ahead and start on the wall and then something goes awry and then I have to tear stuff out and break it. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna test the throwaway to make sure that we know what our material's capabilities are.
For people like me out there that don't really know what he's saying, I'll clear it up for you. Basically, we need to find the measurements of the sand and mortar to find the strength of it, and we're gonna do a mock-up with 3 blocks we don't need. If it squishes them down, we know we needed different measurements.
Yep. All right, so at the yard that I went to, at the ferreteria, we had 2 different piles of sand. My Spanish was not good enough to kind of decipher which is better for this. I kind of just pointed at the block wall and said, es posible que es eso. I don't know what the heck I was saying, but they had 2 different kinds. They had this dirt one that looks a little bit finer, and then they have this one that is a little bit more coarse, but both of them aren't very clean. So they have chunks in them, big rocks. So they gave me this screen, and I can throw that on there, sift it out, and get it nice and clean. And then I'm just gonna try both, maybe a mixture of both. You know, obviously I'll be done with this wall by the time any comments could come in. So any comment that's gonna say the coarser, the finer, I don't know what, maybe this is for like a stucco mix because you want it to be more fine. Maybe this is for concrete. I really have no idea, but I'm gonna try them both to see which one goes best for me. Okay, so I understand that mortar for block walls is supposed to be pretty creamy. So these rocks, this aggregate stuff, would make it a little bit harder when I'm tapping it down to get my measurements correct. It would make that difficult. So this we just put to the side. All right, so it's a 3-to-1 mix. Best I can see it. There's one. There's 1, 2, 3. All right, time to get the water in. All right, so Kristen was telling me how to mix this up, and she said it wanted to be the consistency of peanut butter. I tasted some, it didn't taste like peanut butter to me. So I said there's got to be another way. She said if you could turn the trowel 90 degrees and it doesn't slide off immediately, it's working pretty good. That mud ain't sliding off. So I think that this is ready to go for our test.
Too dry?
Seems a little dry.
Well, you know better for the next. Why we are letting that mock-up dry for now, Matt is going to build a little bit of like a string line so we can keep our wall as straight as possible. We'll use it on each layer as we go up, and hopefully that will make sure that we don't make a wonky wall. It's one of my fears that we get done putting the mortar on and we look back and our wall's like sliding over to the side. So hopefully that doesn't happen, and this is hopefully gonna fix that problem.
All right, so basically to make the corner blocks, you can buy them at the store. They have a tool for that. So, you know, if your daddy got a hedge fund, he's cutting you a check when he dies, you can go ahead and spend extra money on that. Or you can just put a 90 on a 2x4, it looks like. Get the string to pinch on your 2 corner blocks once they're set, and those are perfect. And then it keeps your straight line, and everything should come out pretty plumb and pretty level and pretty straight. So basically what I'm gathering here is that the corners are the most important part. Your corners got to be perfect, and your edges, your columns on your end. And then once that's done, there's some tools where you can set things in, and then you can just start running and gunning. So I'm just hoping this wall comes out straight, flat, and when we get done with it, we don't want to go surfing on those waves. That's the one thing we don't want. I love surfing, but Kristen said no waves on this wall. So we're gonna keep her straight. We're gonna do our due diligence, and I think she's gonna come out good.
next day, it's time to test out to see how our mock-up went. Is it solid? Is it gonna just fall over? Are we gonna karate chop it and it's just gonna crumble to pieces? And we have to start figuring that out. To me, it looks pretty stiff, but let's go rip it. And then after that, we're just ready to go for it.
Yeah, we gotta test it first. We do plan on karate chopping our block wall quite often, so it definitely needs to stand up to that stress test. But yeah, we never used the sand before, we never used the mud, so we were in a little short on time yesterday. I think we made the right call, and I'm hoping that it doesn't crumble beneath my poor pitiful fingers.
All right, what are you noticing?
See, this is what makes me nervous, is you can pick it up and you can break it. It is hard, but you can scrape it off, so whatever. Let's just see if it goes.
What are you doing?
Yes.
Oh boy!
Yes!
Yeah, okay, so it all lifted up, so we see the strength there, but...
Straight up and down.
Okay, I'm not gonna...
Let me see.
Ah! Ah!
Ah!
You put your knee into that. That's like 100 pounds, right?
Yeah.
It worked.
Should I pick it up and drop it to see if it
So,
breaks apart?
and ladies and gentlemen, we didn't even do that great of a job filling the gaps. As you can see here, there's a little bit of a gap, and it's still really solid. So, to me, I think that's a good mixture. The 3-to-1, the sand worked good, the cement worked good. It didn't squish all the way down, which was what we were worried about. So, we're ready to go.
Let me get the sledgehammer and hit it, see if it'll break off.
Oh boy.
Alright, so you can't knock it off with a sledgehammer.
We'll try the next one, because that one was only halfway connected. Oh no! So don't take a sledgehammer to our wall. I don't know why you thought that was going to work.
But I think once the concrete fills the cells, it's still going to be, it's still going to be good.
Don't breathe. Let's stick into the trowel. For the most part, I'm gonna call that a dub. I'm gonna say that's peanut butter. All right, so these two back corners I think are gonna be the most important. So that's what I'm going off of as my master corner. The wing walls that go out, that one goes to a gate and that one goes to the woods. So if those needed to be adjusted, I'd rather have it out there than start out there and have to adjust something in here with all these bends. So starting on the back, starting on the corners, I made a couple of guidelines here, but I have my string also. So we're gonna throw this mud, walk it up. I've never done this before, but mama ain't raised no punk. We ain't scared out here. So she's gonna see me do this mud and hopefully be proud.
All right, so I've got all my corners in for that first layer. I built up the first 3 layers, but what I was noticing was when I was hitting the block with the trowel, which I've seen a lot of instructionals on how to do it, it was moving other block. So I didn't want to stack it while it was all wet. There might be pros that can do that and they got the feel for it. I am not that yet. I'm just a brand new, first time I ever held a pointy trowel in my hand today. So what I'm doing is I have my corners in on the first run. I'm letting that stiffen up a little bit, and then I'm going to be able to start running my long runs. And then this evening, before I go in, call it for the day, I'm going to build up 2 more rows or another row on top of that long row in the corner, so I'll be able to put my corner strings up and I'll be able to run it. So soon, hopefully I'll be able to just scoop, slap, scoop, slap. Obviously there's some swag to it that people have that I'm struggling. I'll be like putting it on the trowel and like mushing it on with my hands trying to make a straight groove. So it's not easy. I respect you, mason men out there, but it ain't something I won't have licked by, halfway through this wall I'll be smoking it. So don't take yourself too seriously, boys. All right, so now it's officially time for me to get my corner blocks that I made, and I think I can start making a straight run here.
All right, guys, I'm not 5 feet taller than Matt. I'm just on a hill of dirt. So don't get crazy. But as you can see, we are working right along. Matt is killing it. He's working hard all day and night. We have changed a few different things. We ended up going to Home Depot because we started running out of some of the flat block and the half block. Unfortunately, they were out of the block, but we ended up getting the mortar bags that are already mixed with the sand and the, what is it, cement?
Sand, cement, Yeah, all that.
It was already mixed in a bag, so all you have to do is add water. So we've saved time on that. We've gotten a better texture, consistency from that. And what do you have to say? How's it going for you?
It's going pretty slow. I don't have the touch for it yet, but hopefully that kind of works itself out. I think I'm being a little bit too particular, and it may be slowing me down a little. I'm kind of treating it like tile, where I really want my grout, or not even grout lines, my mortar lines to look really good and be really full. So I'm really, for the first couple of lines, I mean, it would be within like a 16th inch plumb. I wouldn't let it be out of plumb like at all. And then I did some reading last night, and it says that in a 10-foot run, you can be up to 3/8, no more than a ½ inch out of plumb, which I'm not even near that. I could just eyeball it and probably still stay within that area. So I don't know. I'm being a little particular. I have no idea kind of what I'm doing. So the learning curve has been a little bit steep, I guess. I don't know exactly how that goes.
And plus, this was our project to know if we're going to be able to learn and build our own house. So
yeah,
the pressure's on.
And I didn't really learn too many lessons either. A lot of things didn't fall exactly where I had planned on them. It wasn't way off. I mean, it's pretty close to where we started, but it's like the entire project is like 3 inches shorter than we originally measured for. We measured it a bunch. So I'm like, how exactly did that happen? But yeah, it's a nightmare with the materials, and you got to go to Home Depot and then they don't have it, and they can't tell you when they're going to have it. A lot of the ferreterias have different block. There's some abnormalities in the block because we're using 3 different sizes from 2 or 3 different suppliers. So, one block will just be thicker than all the other ones, and I have to take it out, and I don't know exactly how much grout covers up. I don't want to make something crazy, so I'm trying to make it as perfect as I can for now. But I mean, it is fun. I'm getting a good workout. I'm getting buffer again, that's for sure. But it's it's an interesting thing. Again. It's an interesting thing. I mean, it's a good thing my parents didn't name me Mason, because this is not my forte.
But thanks for watching, guys. We're going to continue to work on this wall. When you come back in the next episode, we'll just be stacking it up. And then once it's all stacked up, what's the next step? So we can look forward to that.
Once it's stacked, we have to fill the cells where the columns are.
With cement.
With cement. And then we have to stucco it. And then we're on to building gates and all that insanity. We might build the gates before we stucco it, though.
Really?
Stuccoing might be like kind of the last deal, yeah, because you don't want to stucco and have to drill all into your stucco, but maybe you do want to drill into your stucco.
I don't know. Leave it in the comments down below.
Do you stucco before you put in the hardware, or do you hardware before you put in the stucco?
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you check out our Patreon. The links will be down below if you want to get early release videos or real-time updates. And comment, like, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching, guys. Bye.